So I'm here with Zoe Angle of Angle Glass, and we are just going to explore her workshop today. So I'll just do a little pan. Lovely skylights, letting lots of light in. So Zoe, why don't you start by talking us through the way you store your glass?
Okay then, so when we get glass in, we need somewhere safe to store it. So this rack system was built for us specifically for glass, and usually we buy it in big sheets, but obviously when we start cutting it down for jobs, they become smaller sheets, and you get smaller sheets. So it's really handy to have racks with various sizes, and then we've got little cubby holes as well for the even smaller bits. I store my glass by colour. That's how I do it, but there's lots of different ways of doing it. You can do it by type of glass, but I prefer it by colour.
And I know that you share this workshop with Tom, so do you have different sections for your glass and for Tom's glass?
Yeah, well, strangely enough, Tom has this section, and I have that section.
Aha.
But the reason being is we have different attitudes. He likes to overbuy and have it in store so that if a job comes up, he knows he's got it in stock. I'd rather buy specifically for the job and keep it quite tight, because I find that glass can possibly get damaged if it's left over time and get a bit scratched. So
Yeah.
that's why I do it in that way.
Yeah. And the glass racks behind you, is that shared or is that also...
Well, that's mainly Tom's,
Okay.
but I can put little bits in there.
Yeah.
If I want
Yeah.
to. But that's great, especially for things like when we're doing repairs.
Yeah.
And especially in this section, there's some really old glass that you can no longer get. So, if there's something specific you need, he's very happy for me to take it.
Okay, shall we move on to your painting station?
Okay, so this is mainly where I paint. This is our light box, and these are a collection of paints and enamels and my paint brushes. And I specialise in glass painting, so I use this an awful lot. This is where I'm at my happiest in the studio.
Yeah, it's a nice big box, isn't it?
Yes, it's really good. So.
Yeah. And
following on from painting.
Let's have a little look inside.
Okay, this is my kiln.
Okay.
And it's a perfect size for me because it's an electric kiln, which means it's fast at firing and cooling. And for that reason, it doesn't need to be that big because I can get things through very quickly.
So how long is a firing cycle for you?
So it goes up to temperature in about 45 minutes, and then it will take about 3 hours to cool. And that's brilliant because I like painting in layers, so I need it to get in, get out on the next layer and fire it again.
It's like a workflow thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And that size, I don't really want to fire pieces bigger than that. If I needed to, I've always got friends that I can ask to fire their kiln.
Okay, and we've got some very nice panels up here.
Yeah, exactly. I do the odd market, and I sell on the internet, so those smaller pieces are often good, and they're good examples of if you need to have presents for people, that sort of scale.
You've got very nice blacking going on your lead.
Well, I use great polish and I use a lot of elbow grease.
Yeah, and it shows. It's lovely. Lovely. And we've got a workbench now.
Yes, this is a really good size workbench, which I've used for a long time. It's crucial to get your workbench the right height so you're not leaning over, because you'll do your back in.
Absolutely.
So that's the first critical bit, but also I do very large panels as well, so I have to have that space. And also if it's even bigger, you can put a board on top and create even more space.
Okay.
So that's great.
Yeah, because you've got plenty of room behind you, haven't you?
Exactly.
And this lovely little corner workshop.
This is where Tom works. This is his little domain. And so he's set his up differently to me. He likes to have all his tools right to hand.
Let's have a little look at these tools.
He wants to see what and then grab it.
That's a very smart way to store your tools.
Where I put mine in a drawer and then use them and then put them back in a drawer. So this is how he likes to have everything.
And he's got
organised.
shelves all around him.
Yeah.
And an enormous speaker.
Yeah. Well, we do like our music in the studio.
Yeah, and there's some of his shelving with his panels.
I rather not have shelving, and the main reason I'm worried about things falling off the shelf and falling down onto the panels.
Yeah.
So it's very personal.
It
how
is,
you
isn't it?
arrange your things.
So we got ever such a lot of glass cutters there.
Yeah.
One for every day of the week.
Yep.
And some soldering irons, some putty,
All your tapes, all your pens for the drawings. It's all very
pens. Yeah,
useful.
someone's got a very tidy mind. And some more tools and storage
all
underneath.
the tools for fitting on site, repairs and things like that.
And I'll just do a little feature on the lead boxes.
Now, lead boxes are always a problem in stained glass studio because they're very, very long and very heavy, and where do you put them? It just happened that it fitted nicely underneath my bench.
It's perfect there, isn't it?
So, as there's two of us, mine is the bottom section and Tom's is the top section.
Yeah.
So, and we can label them, we know what's what.
And maybe you could talk a little bit about this building and the sort of studio space this actually is.
Okay, so it's quite unusual and I really like it. This is called the West London Art Factory, and it's a group of studios under one roof. There's 31, I believe, and it's artists and music studios as well. And it's really good to be alongside other creative people because you can sort of collaborate with them and work with them and ask advice and things like that. And me and Tom are quite social people, so it really helps to have someone there working at the same time. There's even recently moved in a woman who makes wedding dresses.
Oh, wow.
And it's lovely coming in and seeing something different.
Yeah.
You know, it sort of keeps you sort of inspired, really.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean, I know you share with Tom, and I'm not sure how often you're both in together, but it can be a bit isolating in a studio on your own. So being in a space with other sympathetic like minds must be nice.
Well, the great thing about sharing a studio with someone else who's doing exactly what you're doing is that if you get a large job, we can work together.
Okay.
Which we often do.
Do you?
Which is fantastic. So if you get a large job, you can always just say yes straight away because you know there's someone there who can work with you. But I started sharing a studio with Tom to start off with because I had just started the business up and I had my son was very young and I could only do it part-time.
Right.
And it was financial really because we could split the price of the studio.
Yeah.
And this is something I would really recommend to anybody who's starting their business or their practice is it just keeps overall costs down at the start. But then I found that there was other benefits. As I say, there's someone there to ask questions, advice. So it works, and we get on very well. So it works out very well. So we've been sharing the studio for 11 years now.
Oh my goodness, that's longer than some marriages.
I know. So I would recommend it to start off and see how you get on, and then you can always get your own place if it suits you better.
Yeah, if you outgrow.
Yeah.
And is this a sort of because it's specifically for artists? Is it cheaper than other places, or is that nothing to do with it?
Well, I mean, we're based in West London, which is not cheap.
No, it's not. Nowhere in London is cheap, is it?
No one would say that this is cheap, but the reason being is that this is where my customers are. So I have to be based here. But yes, I mean, if you were renting a business space, it would be more expensive, I feel.
Yeah.
But the main problem being, we need a workshop space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of a big trend at the moment of work hubs, but that's more sort of people who are using desk space.
Yes.
And we looked at that, and there's nowhere that you can have kilns.
Yeah.
And you need somewhere.
Yeah.
to
People
work.
don't like soldering irons either because it's not always covered in insurance because of fire risks.
And also, we went to one work hub, and they said yes, but we've got workshops, and I said yes, but we have to pass the backs of people working at desks, and when you're carrying glass, that's impossible.
Yeah.
So you have to find a place that works, that you can get stuff delivered to easily.
Yeah.
And that is hard wearing enough to do the kind of work that you're actually going to do.
Yeah, because I'm imagining this place isn't heated for a start.
It's No, but we've got heaters.
Yeah.
It's very common in art places that your heaters are a problem, insulation is
Yeah,
a problem.
that's right, and
Cheap
yeah,
building.
and that's why they're cheaper than other spaces, exactly. So they're a bit more rough and ready, but actually that's what you need.
Well, we've boxed ourselves in so we can control that ourselves.
Yeah.
We've got an air conditioning unit for the summer and the heater for the winter. I mean,
Right.
it's not brilliant, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think people are kind of used to working that way, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, thank you very much, Zoe. It's really interesting to see the way other people organise their workshops. And I always have a bit of workshop envy when I come to other people's places, but I think that's mostly because other people are much tidier than me. But yeah, thank you very much, Zoe.
You're welcome.